So to demonstrate the concept of loops, I'm going to be using the countdown example from the last video, because it's pretty straightforward and gets the point across. So the first kind of loop is a while loop, and essentially how that works is you type in the keyword while, then in brackets you type in the condition. So in our case, as long as n is more than 0, so whilst this is true, keep doing this. And what we want to keep doing is we want to print out the value of n, and then each time we want to subtract n by 1. As soon as this statement becomes not true, so as soon as n is not bigger than 0, then this block of code stops running. So we can then continue on to system.out.println blastoff. And this line of code won't execute until this while loop is finished. So if we entered n as 5, it would go, okay, 5 is bigger than 0, do this, 4 is still bigger than 0, do this, and so forth, until the condition is not true, and it gets here. So we can call this up here, and again put in 5, run that, and it runs as expected. The next kind of loop is actually extremely similar, and it's called a do-while loop, and it follows the same premise, except it executes the block of code first, then checks the condition, so it's essentially a reverse while loop. It sounds slightly complicated, but it's actually not. So if I just type in do, and then curly braces, and then copy and paste this, then afterwards put in while n is larger than 0, then I have this blast off below here. Now as you can see, if again I input n as 5, it will print out 5, subtract it by 1, check it, and then loop back, and then keep going until we get to blast off. So again, if we call that and run it, and again we get the exact same output. The final type of loop, and probably the most common, is a for loop. It's slightly complicated at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's great. So just type in the keyword for, and then in these brackets here, the first thing we need to do is create a brand new variable, and that variable is going to keep a track of the amount of loops that we're going to be doing. So by convention, it's usually I. We just name an integer I, and we just want to set this equal to whatever n is, and then a semicolon. And then the next thing is the condition. So as long as I is bigger than 0, semicolon, and then what do you want this loop to do to the variable each time it's passed through? So I want the value of I to be reduced by 1 each time. The advantage of a for loop here compared to a while loop is that if we didn't have this int n already, then in a while loop we'd have to create an entirely new variable just to keep a track of how many loops are going. Whereas in this for loop here, we have it all done here. And here, instead of having a new line of code just to change the value of the variable, we don't need that because it's already done here. So in here, all we have to do is just print out the value of I. And then down below, we can have blastoff printed off. And then if we play, finally, we again get the expected output.